Welcome to the 74th edition of the Pro Wrestling Zone. I am Tiger Height.
And I'm Peanut Gallery.
So this is going to be our special little Super Bowl pro wrestlers who are football players extravaganza because we like manipulation of the keywords. So,
yes.
But before we get into that, let's talk about some news.
Okay.
So, Christian, his appearance at the Royal Rumble obviously was a fairly large surprise. And a lot of people, number one, they're like, why are people so big on Christian? Because Christian is actually very underrated. He's very good. But that's not going to be his only appearance. He was cleared to compete on a semi-regular basis, but he's going to be a part-timer.
Nice.
So
same with Edge.
Yep. Literally the same thing. Kane, he donated his entire pay from the Royal Rumble appearance, and he has donated it to the Knox County Mayor Applied Technology Scholarship Fund.
Nice.
Or TCAT. And that is obviously something, it was like $5,000 of his salary as well that he donated.
Right.
And this just helps, employees from Knox counties, children and, all that fun stuff, which is good. I'm very happy about that. The Young Bucks have responded to Jay White, who said that this is not going to be a corny reunion. This is real Bullet Club. And this is what they said on Twitter. The original Bullet Club's t-shirt design hadn't been in the top sellers for 2 years until the night we decided to throw up the Too Sweet hand sign again.
Right.
You're welcome. So we have some fun little thing there. And now with, I guess that's a great segue into one of our bigger news stories.
Yeah.
Is New Japan's New Deal.
Uh-huh.
So they are going to be on the Roku channel. Mm-hmm. In the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. They are going to be having a 1-hour series each week starting February 11th.
Okay.
And then they will be regular every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern time after that. I think it's Eastern. They usually does it in Eastern.
Right.
Replays will be available on demand, therefore. NJPW also announced that the Roku channel will host a block of library content featuring the best matches of 2020.
Nice.
And there is potential for more historical content in the future.
Nice.
Whew. Anyway, Trey Miguel explained why he stayed with Impact, even though I spelled stained incorrectly on my goddamn notes.
Oh, wow.
Apparently he is a stain. So it gives him the freedom to live close to his nephew, who was born premature. And then he also is one of the head trainers at a wrestling school near his house. Cool. So essentially, that's what's going on there.
Nice.
Legendary wrestler Butch Reed passed away. It is not from COVID. It is it was a heart condition. I think he had like 2 massive heart attacks on Thursday. But he was a significant star in Mid-South Wrestling back in the 70s. And he had a tag team with Ron Simmons known as Doom. Multiple-time tag team champion. Really a great paved the way. Another one of those African-American wrestler pioneers. Right. Which is always good. Jey Uso is going to be out of action now. Again. Fun. So, he was not in attendance at the Royal Rumble, which I guess he was supposed to. Mm-hmm. And he was just not medically cleared to compete. There's no word yet on why he was unable to compete, but he just hasn't.
Does anyone know who replaced him?
No.
Oh.
There's no clue on who replaced him, but he was supposed to be there. Let's talk about this we'll talk about that on the segue in there. I want to really talk about this whole Steve Cutler being released by WWE thing, because there's a lot more in this than just a simple release. Right. Now, it was revealed by his girlfriend, Deonna Purrazzo, that they attended a New Year's Eve party. Yeah. And they tested positive for COVID-19 in early January. Okay. Mr. McMahon had a huge problem with Steve Cutler being there and testing positive, because McMahon promised stars like Roman Reigns, who are immune compromised, that he will keep a safe environment with COVID. Now, I have a couple of things, and obviously, so I guess he was fired due to disciplinary reasons. To what I am hearing, that was the reason.
Okay.
Now, I have a couple of things here, and I'm going to say at least to Peraza and Steve Cutler, probably not the best idea to go to a party.
Right.
And I also understand it was a private gathering with people in the industry, so they're tested often.
Right.
I understand that life doesn't stop.
Right.
You know? But at the same time, there is that personal responsibility. It was a gamble.
Right.
And unfortunately, they got sick.
Right.
No symptoms.
Right.
They just tested positive.
Yeah.
Right? Do you believe Steve Cutler has grounds, if he was fired for only this reason, if he has grounds for a
lawsuit?
Yeah, a lawsuit against WWE.
I don't know. It just depends on what the contract stipulated.
Right. I think Mr. McMahon is out of line for not only firing him due to this, but also promising something that he cannot control.
Right, which is keeping a COVID-free environment. Mm-hmm. It just, unless you're testing everyone all the time, it's just not going to happen. Right.
So, I mean, along the lines of that same kind of questioning.
I mean, what's going to happen when they start allowing fans?
Yeah. What about Drew McIntyre?
Right.
Why wasn't he fired? Because he had COVID.
Right.
So, it's ridiculous. Steve Cutler really wasn't doing anything. He was never really.
And I think that's the big reason too, was because he wasn't doing anything. So he was just a pawn in Vince McMahon's little game. Right.
And it's like, I can discipline him, saying if you feel sick, don't get. We don't want to test you. Test before.
Right.
It's disgusting. I don't like it.
Right.
But it is what it is. Whatever. Who cares? Anyway. So before we get into this one too. WWE had their Q4 conference call on Thursday.
Let's talk about his conference call.
Peanut Gallery, would you like to do the honors since you did it last time?
I can't see it.
I know. I'm highlighting it, you weirdo.
Well, I'm sorry.
There.
I still can't see. Can you, move it over a little bit? I'm yes. There we go.
Better?
Okay. Yes, so this is what Vince McMahon and friends have said. WWE Network subscribers increased to 1.5 million, up 8%.
6%.
We're also planning to restart work on new WWE offices in the second half of 2021. Expected to run between 65 to 85 million dollars. We have worked on a deal with major sports league to do championship belts with team logos based on how they send WWE belts to championship winning teams. We think there's an area that will grow into the future. Exciting. Damn it.
That's stupid.
That's such good
anyway, go ahead. You're at operating income.
Operating income. Down 64% year over year from 2019's $99.8 million in Q4.
Jesus.
No surprise here, but event revenue was down 97% year over year in Q4.
I had to move Peanut Gallery's wine.
Yes, it was kind of in the way. Consumer revenue was down 12% year over year to $27 million, down from $30.8 million in 2019's Q4 call. The cash and short-term investments grew to $593.4 million, up from $250.4 million in 2019's Q4. And Khan, not Tony Khan. This is
I think this is the new executive vice president of, if I'm not mistaken, the new chief financial officer.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So he said that in terms of content produced per partner satisfaction, they go up by 3%.
3 R's.
Revenue reportedly to partners to sell against relevancy, excitement level, and ratings. Subscriptions.
All right.
That's all. Damn it.
So,
I did a bad job. I was not expecting to all of a sudden be on script.
Any kind of quarter thing, I believe you should be at least somewhat prepared for.
Well,
that.
I didn't know that you were going to do that. Also, the text was really small, so I couldn't read it very well.
And my computer's 20 miles away. I should have sent it to you on your iPad. But
yeah,
you
should have.
Here, so
you should have sent it to me on my iPhone at least.
Right.
Whatever.
So, we'll talk about him at the very last. But let's talk about Tyler Rex.
Ooh, yes. Although it's not Tyler Rex anymore.
Well, it was Gabe Tuft. He has fully. Well, now she has fully transitioned into a woman.
Yes.
Named Gabby Tuft. It was announced today, which I believe I got this on Friday.
Yes, it was announced on Friday, I believe.
That Tuft will explain who she really is and detail her transgender story on Friday's episode of Extra TV. So, next week.
Yes.
Which airs in syndication. And, obviously, Gabby is making the transition with the full support of her wife, Priscilla Tuft.
Who is not divorcing her.
No, this is full support. I believe they have children, so
yes.
I think that's why. I saw the pictures. I don't want to be mean.
It's not fully finished.
No,
yet.
no, it's not. It's not fully finished transitioning.
No, it just isn't.
We're gonna have a fucking outcry on Twitter
or on Tumblr if this makes to the Tumblr channels.
Yes. So anyway, actually, we're fairly popular on Tumblr, unfortunately. So yeah,
it's all right.
It was just kind of a out of left field story, and
yeah.
I'm I think we do have to talk about it. Now, do you see maybe possibly her going back to wrestling at some point in time? Nope. Wow. Okay.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Anyway, so let's talk about the final story because it leads really nicely into our main discussion.
Okay.
Parker Bordeaux, top prospect, University of Florida standout football player.
Yes.
Has reportedly signed, has not been confirmed, has reportedly signed a developmental deal to work in WWE NXT.
Okay.
This kid is 6'4" and 301 pounds. He has been compared to Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
Every news place says that this is the next Brock Lesnar right here. And they look really familiar too.
Or similar.
Similar, familiar, whatever. He was backstage at January 20th NXT TV show tapings.
Yeah.
But there was no word yet on when he would make his debut. I know Paul Heyman was very uppity about him.
Yep.
And so
he's been known to manage a few football players.
Yeah. Most certainly. A couple of them, actually. So, and that's kind of cool because I kind of had the feeling that they were going to. I heard talks that he was being looked at for talents for actually a couple of months now. So, but this would be a really big get. Hopefully, obviously with our discussion, it kind of feels like football players have a decent transition into wrestling for some reason.
We will cross that bridge when we get. So here's how it's going to work. It's really going to be a free flow. It's really going to be a free flow conversation. And really, because I'm 8 miles away from the screen, I'll rely on Tiger Height a lot too.
Well, go upstairs and grab your iPad, bitch.
No. Anyways,
whatever.
So we're gonna have Tiger Height lead bits of the conversation.
Such a lazy little cunt.
And we'll just have a free form discussion on it.
Yeah.
And so we'll do 5 and then 5. This isn't really gonna be a formal thing, but more of an informal to get them tags.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Well, we'll be back here in a minute talking about pro wrestlers in football and vice versa.
Nice.